your desk already. Today we're going to be doing something really small. We're going to be assigning blame for the Holocaust. So use your handout, and you're going to grade following people. Eyes up here, please. Please come in quietly and just have a seat. Okay, so you guys all have a handout on your desk. It's called Who Was to Blame. You're going to, in the blank space to the left of all of them, write a number between 1 and 4. 1 is not responsible, 2 is minimally responsible, 3 is responsible, 4 is very responsible. This is for the events of the Holocaust, the atrocities that were committed. So you guys have 7 minutes to do this, so go ahead and get started. It's an individual activity. This is page 39. Amy? Alright, yeah.
Oh!
Or you can leave it in the pocket.
A question? Do they
That
know
will be
that?
the same number as Kirsten's assistants. Do they know what? I mean, they know that it's taking a training those people to place them in the community back. Okay, a couple more minutes. So if you guys are doing table of contents or anything like that, try to save that for the end of class. Right now you're doing your do now worksheet. Take 2 more minutes. enough so that you can discuss it, what I'm going to ask you to do is to turn to the person sitting next to you. Some of you will be in a 3, so we're going to go 2. So 2, 2, and 2, and then you guys will be a 3, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, makes sense? You guys will be a 3. So what you're going to do is you're going to take just about 2 minutes and you're going to discuss who was easy to pick, who was hard to pick a number for, and who you gave the most blame to and who you gave the least blame to. So just kind of discuss your choices and why you picked them for about 2 minutes, and then we're going to share out. And because I know all of you have at least something written on your paper, I will be calling randomly. Just to warn you. And then Raven, you and Just Mary will be working together. Okay, so who did you give the most blame to? You're gonna have to help Janae out here. She got a lot of who'd you give the most blame to? 3. Yeah. Ah, okay. Good. And why'd you pick those ones you told Janae? You're not giving video one?
Because like these are such large sweeping groups.
No?
They're such large sweeping groups that die or they're actually enthusiastic about the job. But some of them might be like,
I know that one's hard, but I mean there are a bunch of hard ones, but that one I know.
making no friends.
That's just an precision. I feel like you don't technically have to kill your but I'm saying that.
You kind of have to decide that for themselves. So, like, best case scenario, they just know that they're manufacturing like a lot of poison. They maybe don't know where it's going, but they know that it can be used on people. So you guys are gonna have to fill Jimmy in. So Jimmy, this is our do now. We're all sharing out in just 5 minutes. You guys can just let him know where the responsibility is going to be. But yeah, this is a choice you have to make, like, on your own. Thank you very much. I think it was like 43 or 44. It was a little mass produced. I don't know that that was the actual purpose of creating it. Yes.
That's why we put that after stuff, so they make like a bunch of profit. Why does it
Okay, guys, we're going to share out. So, who did you give a 4 to? Did anybody give 4s? Eyes up here, please. I need eyes up here, please. We'll wait for everybody to listen up. Eyes up here, please. Okay, did anybody give out a 4? Who'd you give a 4 to, Ace?
Number 4.
Number 4, the businessman who made enormous profits. Why'd you do that?
Because he was producing Zyklon B gas that killed Jews constitutionally.
Okay. Okay. Who else gave 4s? What else did we get 4s for?
He disagrees.
August? Oh, you disagree, Alex? Okay, I'll get you.
One of Hitler's direct subordinates.
One of Hitler's direct subordinates. Okay, and how come? Why'd they get a 4?
Because they're very high up and they were the ones making decisions on what to do.
Okay.
So.
Cool. Okay. Do we have comments on people's choices of 4s? We can only take like one comment. Alex, go ahead.
For his choice number 4.
For Ace. Ace's choice, yeah.
I don't think the businessman who made the profits from it is very responsible because he's just making it like it's like pretty much like Schindler doing like getting slave labor because he wants to make money. He's doing it because he wants to make money, not because he wants to kill Jews.
So he can be like, I don't know where this poison is going. It's not my business.
Yeah.
I'm just doing my job.
He's in charge of selling it.
Who? How?
Manufacturer.
Yeah, he's in charge of making.
Okay, I love the debate, but we have to keep moving. Who else got a 4? Who else got a 4? Eyes up here, please. Lovely. Who else got a 4?
A person who voluntarily joined the Nazi Party.
Person who voluntarily joined the Nazi Party in the 1930s? Okay. How come?
Because they volunteered.
Because they volunteered? Okay, now remember, this is the 30s though, so this is pretty early. So this maybe they were just joining the political party that everybody was joining because they wanted some jobs. So that one's a little debatable, I think. A 4 might be a little heavy-handed for them. August, yes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, cause like when joining the Nazi Party, I don't think anyone was expecting like a full-out genocide to occur. So I wouldn't. I gave that one a 3 and not a 4 because like still yeah you are still in the Nazi Party, but like you didn't join necessarily because you wanted to mass murder.
So maybe if it was somebody who joined the Nazi Party in like 1942, it might be a little bit more questionable.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, who got a 1? Who's not really responsible out of this list? Who got a 1? Amari?
I wrote the driver of the trains.
Driver of the trains?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought like it was like it could have just been like their jobs to drive trains.
Yeah, are they going to quit their job or not making money? Maybe they have a family? Okay.
Suffering.
Okay. Who else got a 1? Let's talk about who else got a 1 and then I'll take some comments. Teresa.
I actually changed my mind.
You changed your mind?
Yeah.
Okay.
The parents who sent or allowed their children to attend Hitler's youth meetings.
You gave them a 1?
Yeah.
Okay, how come?
Because it was like they didn't really choose it. It just happened. They just had their kids.
Okay, so maybe they didn't have a choice. They didn't want to get in trouble. They figured, we'll send our kid. It's not a big deal. Yes, just Mary.
My question, was that before he forced everyone to kill himself?
We'll see, there's a little bit of guesswork that has to go into these. I know that you guys want the full backstory of all these people so you can really give them their best number, but you have to kind of infer a little bit. You have to make some connections and think, okay, maybe what if it was when all children were required to join the Hitler Youth? Or what if it was earlier and the parents sent their kid because they really believed in what the Nazi Party was saying? So that's something you have to take into consideration. Joy, do you have a 1?
We put a person who voluntarily joined the Nazi Party.
In the 30s for a 1? Okay, how come? Because of what we were saying earlier?
Yeah. It was just the opposite of what Lovely said.
The opposite of what Lovely said? Alright, see that's interesting though, because we have, some people are thinking, okay, these people are 4, they're hugely responsible, there's no way they didn't know what was going on. And some people are thinking, well, they were just doing their job, what are they supposed to do? Maybe they have a family at home, they have to make money. If they go against it, maybe they'll get put in jail, maybe they'll get killed. What good does that do anybody? So that's really the point of this. I mean, this is not an easy exercise, and there are not right or wrong answers. The point of this is to really realize that the process of assigning blame is very difficult, and it's very subjective. Does anybody know what subjective means? Sort of in the eye of the beholder. So some people are less subjective, such as I would say, like one of Hitler's direct subordinates, someone who's reporting directly to him, somebody who knows what's going on, somebody who's taking steps to implement the final solution. I would say maybe they're more responsible than a trained driver. But you can really make a case in any one of these situations. So just keep that in mind as we go on. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about housekeeping really quickly. So yesterday we had vocab sheets and Schindler's List reflections due. We did not get that many of them. So I know that this is summer. I know a lot of you guys have jobs. I know you have things to do. For these 5 weeks though, this class really needs to be a priority. We are working really hard to make sure that we're giving you guys a manageable workload, we're being respectful of your schedule, everything like that, but we need you guys to meet us halfway. And so these assignments being late or just not being turned in at all is not really acceptable. So, if you're missing them, please turn them in now if you have them. Actually, don't get up, but turn them in at the end of class if you have them. If you need to come into class and do them in class, that's fine. You can always come in. Our doors are open, especially during buyback time on Wednesday and Friday. Buyback time is a time for you guys if you are late to come in and make up that time and do your work. So please use it as what it is, which is an opportunity to make sure that you are not being penalized for being late to class. Okay? So if you guys are missing homework assignments, those need to get to us ASAP. If you have any questions or if you need any help, myself, Ms. Daly, Mr. Reyes are always available for help. We will always answer any questions of yours and we'll help you if you guys are struggling at all. So please come to us. Please use us as a resource. Please use your buyback time as a resource. And just please let's not have another occasion like Monday happened where we had like 10 things in the inbox. Okay. Okay. Now that that is out of the way. Oh, actually, it's not out of the way because the upstander outline is due by the end of class today, and your upstander reflection is due on Friday. So your little the chart that Ms. Daly gave you yesterday, the front and back side, that is due to us at the end of class today. I know a lot of you guys made good progress on it yesterday. And then your reflection, your total reflection on your upstander interview is due on Friday. So today is the last time that you'll have computer lab time for that. So please use your time today wisely. We are really trying to make this easy on you. Okay. Any questions on what is due, anything like that? Yes, Elisa?
So, you have to type it, right?
You have to type it, yes.
So, you have to type it.
Yeah, so that's why we're giving you guys an hour today to work on it, and then if you do not finish today, you're more than welcome to use the computers in the back of the room. Just set up a time with myself, Ms. Dordes, or Ms. Daly. But these computers are available to you, you just need to let us know. Okay, any more questions? We good? Good. Okay, the Nuremberg trials. I'm going to have you guys take notes on this. I will be taking notes along with you, so hopefully we can stay on the same pace. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be deciding, was justice served at Nuremberg? What does that mean, was justice served? What do I mean when I say that? Anybody? What does it mean to say was justice served? Carla? Yes? Go ahead. You're on the right track. Come on, Carla.
If they got like found them guilty, I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so like if they found them guilty, if they were guilty, if they found them guilty, was justice served means like, was it fair?
Yeah. Did they like blame them or like punish them?
Definitely. Did they get what they deserved? Was justice served? Good. This is number 40 in your binder, yes. Okay. Okay, so the Nuremberg trials. Does anybody know what they were? Do we know? August, yes?
Nuremberg trials were some trials in Nuremberg.
Trials in Nuremberg. Well done.
Main members.
Guys, I need your eyes up here, please. If you're organizing your binder, please do so after class. Now is not the time. August, go ahead. Trials in Nuremberg. Anything else?
And yeah, they were trials for main members of the Nazi parties. The soldiers themselves were not tried because they were just following orders from their superiors. So.
Great, good point to bring up. So the Nuremberg trials conducted by the Allied powers. Who are the Allied powers? Us, good, and?
The Soviet Union.
And? Great job. So there were trials conducted by the Allied powers. So you guys should be writing this down on your sheet as well. To hold Nazis accountable for their actions during the Holocaust. Okay? So this is what should be written on your sheet under what were they. What does accountable mean? What does it mean to be accountable? Anyone? Phil? Responsible, exactly. Accountable means responsible. Trials conducted by the Allied powers to hold Nazis accountable or responsible for their actions during the Holocaust. When were they held? The most famous trial was in 1945, but there were other trials that happened after it, all the way to 1950. 1945 to 1950. Okay. Here's an easy one. Where were they held? Anybody? You can shout it out.
Austria.
Nuremberg! Oh, that was supposed to be an easy one. Alright, well they were held in Nuremberg. You don't have to write that, that's not on your sheet. They're held in Nuremberg, which is the same place. Where have we heard the name Nuremberg before? Anyone? Someone we haven't heard from? Alright, August, go ahead.
Nuremberg was where Hitler held most of his Nazi rallies.
Yes, big Nazi rallies, including the one that passed the famous Nuremberg race laws, which say that you can't marry a Jew, Jews that do not have citizenship, etc. So Nuremberg is a pretty famous place already, and it's becoming more famous. This is the building where the trials were held. It's very beautiful. Okay. Where were they held? That was an easy one. That is not on your sheet. You don't have to write that down. Next. Who was on trial?
Don't erase it.
If you're missing stuff, come see me after class. I will. We are in a time crunch today. Who's on trial? Nazis? I hear Nazis. Good. Good. Okay. So in total, 199 people were tried.
For real.
199 people. Everything okay? 199 people. Of those, we have 24 high-level Nazis. So these are people who are directly reporting to Hitler or who are in charge on a very large scale. We have 26 military leaders. As August pointed out, there were soldiers did not stand trial, but military leaders could. There were 56 SS officers. SS again, does anyone remember what that is? No, that's USSR, but close. SS officials, that was Hitler's special police force. And so of this SS, we also have members of the Einsatzgruppen. Does anybody remember what the Einsatzgruppen was? Killing squads, exactly, good. And then we also have officials who supervise concentration camps. We're counted among these people. We have 14 heads of government organizations. This is an abbreviation for government. And then we also have, we've got doctors who performed medical experiments on Jews, and we have engineers who constructed crematoriums. So this is coming all the way down, okay? So we have everybody from really high-level Nazis to military leaders to SS officials to heads of the police to people who constructed the crematoriums to people who performed experiments on Jews. Mr. Reyes talked a little bit about the medical experimentation that happened yesterday. So some of those people were on trial at Nuremberg. Okay. Who is missing? Who is not on trial?
Hitler.
Hitler. Good. Why? Do you know why? It's okay. Go ahead, Elisa. He's dead. He is dead. That's right. Does anybody know what happened?
He killed himself.
He killed himself. That's right. Okay. Who else is missing?
The guy that was.
Okay, this is a little bit harder. So Hitler is missing. He committed suicide. There are also other very high-level Nazis who committed suicide as well.
His wife.
I know.
His wife, his girlfriend, actually. They were not married, but she did. But she would. Well, she might have been on trial, but she killed herself as well. Who else, Colin?
I thought he killed her.
No.
Heydrich Himmler. He actually stood trial, but he did. Did he? I'll have to look that up.
Goring killed himself.
Goring killed himself. Exactly. Goring killed himself, his wife, and 6 of his children.
Oh, yeah.
What?
So a lot of Nazis are noticing that this is going to happen. Hang on. Isaac, here, please. A lot of people are noticing that that things are not going well for the Nazis, and they realize that if they're very high up, they really stand a chance of being a standing trial, potentially being executed. So they killed themselves, including Hitler. So you don't have to have names here. You can just say Hitler, high-level Nazis. But you should have Hitler under who is missing, because that's very significant. Yes, Phil?
They found Oscar Schindler, right?
They found Oscar Schindler. Yes. Did he stand trial, though?
Yeah, well,
Did he?
I don't know, because, like, in the end of the movie, he was like, hey, we all have to flee.
That's right, yeah. He said that he had to flee. We can look up whether or not he stood trial. I don't believe he stood trial at Nuremberg, but there were other trials that happened around Europe, so it's possible. My instinct is to say that he did not. But you're right, he was a member of the Nazi Party. You saw him give that speech. He said, I have to flee now. You know, they know what's coming. So a lot of people did commit suicide at this time, or they fled the country. So, Yes, Carla.
Did like the Nazi army go to trial?
The army, like individual soldiers, were not brought to trial, like just in the army, because it was said that they were just following orders from their superiors. You know, if you're just a random soldier who's invading Russia, it's difficult to try you for war crimes. But their superiors, their officers, might have been brought to trial, and some of them were. So we have 26 military leaders, so that would be an example of a higher up military person being brought to trial. Okay, we're going to move forward. What were they charged with? What were they charged with? What do you charge somebody with after the Holocaust?
After the Holocaust, manslaughter, murder,
Manslaughter, murder.
first degree, second degree, third degree.
Just being a bad person.
Okay, you guys are getting to a really interesting point though, because what do you charge these people with? You charge them with murder times 6 million? Hang on, eyes up here, please.
Conspiracy to murder.
Eyes up here, please. I need your attention.
With the deadly weapon.
What are they charged with? This is a really interesting point. These people are German, but they are being tried by the Allies. So whose laws do you follow? Germany's laws? America's laws? France's laws?
Germany's laws don't count. They're being tried by the Allies.
It's a good point. So whose laws do you follow? Here we get into something called international law.
People got charged with that.
International law. So this is this idea that if you commit crimes, you can be charged by people outside, that there is some sort of code of laws that kind of supersedes, that goes above government organizations, and really you can be held accountable by members of other governments for actions that were committed during war. So this is the first time. Is that confusing?
Yes.
Don't they say
Why is that confusing?
Because white nature.
Go ahead, Mike. Why is that
It's
confusing?
like, cause it's like, it makes no sense.
Okay.
It's like, alright, you commit that crime, but you're not like getting charged literally for that crime. You're getting charged by another law in another state. Yeah, by their laws, but it's like, I did this in another country.
Yeah,
Like,
sort of.
charge me for that.
The idea though, George, do you have something to add?
Isn't it like
Yeah,
the guy who like,
Hang on, listen up.
what did he do? He told something about like the law and he went to like another country or whatever.
Oh, WikiLeaks? Julian Assange? Gray hair?
This is nowadays.
Yeah, now? Yeah.
Like Snowden.
Yeah, oh, Snowden. Okay, sure,
Something
yeah.
like that.
So
and
this
now,
is,
since he's in another country, they're not like arresting him or nothing. They're leaving it to them.
yeah. So sort of. Anytime that you're going between countries, the law gets a little bit confusing. So the idea is that the international community, all these countries really feel that they should charge these people for the crimes that they've committed, but they're unsure exactly how to do that because they're not sure what laws to charge them under. So they go to this thing called international law. I'm just going to move forward because we are short on time. But what we're doing is they're being charged under things like conspiracy. Conspiracy. Crimes against peace. Crimes against peace, war crimes. This is the first time that we are hearing people being charged with war crimes, crimes you commit during war. And also the final one, my favorite, crimes against humanity. Crimes against humanity. They're saying that these crimes are so large, they're so awful, they're so massive that they're actually a crime against the whole human race.
See, you're screwed anyway. If you're
Go ahead,
with
Ace.
that.
Extradition. Extradition is when you send somebody who has committed a crime in your country and they fled to a different country. Extradition is when that country sends them back to you. So these trials are being occurring in Germany. So this is not really a
Oh,
case of
so they
extradition.
like made these laws all together?
They made these laws all together. Yeah, exactly.
See,
This is
that's
like
why it's illegal.
this is sort of the period between the League of Nations and the United Nations. But this is this idea that there is a governing body that is made up of more than one country. Okay. Okay. So now we move on. So in a trial, you get to defend yourself, right?
How they defend themselves against that? How can you defend yourself?
Good question.
I'd rather just
What do you think they said?
I was just following orders.
Say that again, Phil. Say it louder.
I was just following orders.
I was just following orders.
Wow.
I was doing what I was told to do.
Isn't there,
I was just following orders. Yes, just Mary.
what's it called? There's there was one of the officers that one of his officers
Okay.
that when he pleaded not guilty because he said he was just following his orders.
I mean, you're right. That was not just one person, though. That was a lot of people. But the thing is, these people are taking the stand, and they're not saying, I didn't do it, you got the wrong guy, I was whatever, temporary insanity. They're not saying these things. They're saying, yes, I did it. I did all these things, but I was just following orders. What do you think about that?
I have a question.
Yes, Ace.
Were Jews present at those trials?
Some were. They had witnesses. They had witnesses who would testify on what happened. So some of these massacres that we talked about, especially the Einsatzgruppen, they would have survivors come and talk about what they did. So there really was no question that these people had committed these crimes. And they weren't trying to say, I didn't commit them. But they would say, I was just following orders. So this man is Rudolf Hess. Does that name sound familiar to anybody? Yes?
That's the red name.
Rudolf Hess, who was he? Somebody read about him. One of our groups read about him. What did he do? He was the commandant in Auschwitz. So he was the man who was in charge at Auschwitz. So remember, over 1 million people were killed in Auschwitz. He was in charge. He was in charge of that. And we've got a quote from him. This is him on trial. You'll notice he's wearing headphones. So he can hear, because this is an international trial, so it's not always in German. Okay. Who wants to read this for us? It's a little small. Dora, can you see from back there?
Would be for the most part.
Okay, go ahead, Dora.
Don't you see?
Listen up. Go ahead.
Don't you see, we SS men were not supposed to think about these things. It never even occurred to us, and besides, it was something already taken for granted that the Jews were to blame for everything. We were also trained to obey orders without even thinking that the thought of disobeying an order would simply never have occurred to anybody, and somebody else would have done just as well if I hadn't. You can be sure that it was not always a pleasure to see those mountains of corpse and smell the continual burning. But Himmler had ordered it, and I already really never gave much thought to whether it was wrong.
This is his defense in court. This is what he has to say for himself. It's not I didn't do it, got the wrong guy, blah, blah, blah. It's I did it, and I didn't even think about it. Somebody else would have done just as well if I hadn't. So if I hadn't done it, somebody would have done it. If I said no, they would have gone to the next person. They would have put me in jail, and they would have gone to the next person. Yes, August.
Trials has a Z on the end. Is there a reason for that? So you get a
No.
Nuremberg trials.
Not an attempt at jazzing things up a little bit. Okay, somebody else would have done it just as well if I hadn't. What do you think about that? Somebody else would have done it if I hadn't done it. What do we think? Tiana, what do you think about that? Somebody else would have done it if I hadn't done it. What do you think? Do you think that's valid?
Yeah. Yes.
No? Yes? I'm hearing yeses. Tiana, what do you think? You're shaking your head no. You don't know? Okay. All right, I'm hearing yeses. Go ahead, Teresa, you got a yes?
Yes, because they don't really care who does the actions, but they just need someone to do it. So he's like, it doesn't matter if I don't do it, they're gonna have someone else do it, because this is true.
Sure. Do you think that makes him more or less guilty of doing what he did?
No, he's so guilty.
Still guilty. Okay. Okay, but I think you're raising a good point. If he had said, no, I'm not going to do this, my morals will not allow me to do it, do you think they would have stopped killing people at Auschwitz? Probably not. Probably not. They would have found somebody else to do it.
Wait,
Yes?
but when what's his name? Schindler
Yes?
told everybody to stop shooting without thinking about it. Didn't that stop something at least?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dora's raising a really good point. So yeah, if he'd said, no, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to participate, you can't make me, blah, 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 maybe they would have thrown him in jail, but he could have done something. He we could have done something. We see all over the place people work in factories. They decrease the output. They don't make as many guns for the war effort. They, they figure things out so that they're saving some people and sending some people on. There's this issue of like, what did you do? What could you have done? Did you do everything that you could have? These are very complicated issues. Teresa, you have something else to say?
Yeah.
Yes.
At least they got trained that Jews are bad, so even if they thought that it was a bad thing to do, they are told that the Jews are horrible people.
Okay, yeah, you're raising a good point. There's this huge propaganda machine that's saying, these people aren't human, they're to blame for everything. So if you've been told that over and over and over and over, then maybe you're more likely to go along with this. Okay, so these are pretty complicated. So defendants had to say for themselves, mostly they were just following orders. Some of them expressed remorse. Some of them said that they were sorry for what they did. And some did not.
Sorry.
Okay, what happened to the defendants? So, what do you think happened to them? They found guilty?
They were
They
set
hung?
free.
They were set free? Okay, we got everything. So out of the 24 high-level Nazis who were charged, I don't have data for all 199. So out of the 24 high-level Nazis, 12 received the death penalty.
What was the death penalty?
In this case, they hung them. There's actually, the only reason I bring that up is not to be gruesome, but it's because they were debating, should we kill them by firing squad, which is how the military executed people who had failed in the line of duty, or do we hang them? And they said that they were not worthy of a firing squad. These people did not deserve a firing squad. They should be hung like common firing
squad.
Like they shoot at you. You stand and they shoot
Yes, the firing squad is when they shoot you. 3. Hang on, eyes up here. 3 received life in prison. Okay. 4 got prison sentences that were less than life.
How did they shoot?
And 4 of them were acquitted.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
They were not guilty.
They were found not guilty. The charges were dropped. They were found not guilty.
But how did they choose what happened?
Oh, and 1 guy committed suicide. 1 more suicide.
Wow.
Okay. What were you saying, Dora?
How did they choose who got what?
It was based on what they did. So these people all did different things. One was Hitler's secretary, one published an anti-Semitic newspaper, one implemented Final Solution, so they did a variety of things. So their charges reflect that difference. But what do you guys think about this?
That's crazy.
Why?
Because 12 got the death sentence, and they said they weren't worthy for fighting squad, and I wouldn't want to go out as fighting squad because there's more than like 5 people shooting at you with like machine guns.
Well, that's not quite how it happened.
They just shoot
But the idea is not so much how they were killed, it's that they were killed. Do you think it's fair that 12 of them got the death penalty?
No, they all should. That's all of them.
They all should have gotten the death penalty?
Well,
It
depends
depends on
on
what.
Depends on the crime.
Oh,
Okay, let's raise hands. I love all this participation, but I want to hear from different people. Yes, Maury.
It depends. There could be a dude that's like in Auschwitz just like killing them.
Listen up.
Just killing them, and there could be someone that just printed a propaganda paper.
Mhm.
You can't kill them just for making the poster.
Right, you can't just say everybody across the board. You know who did say that all Nazis should be killed across the board? Winston Churchill. That was Winston Churchill's official party line, was that we should just kill them all. Fortunately, he was talked out of that and they stood trial. But you're right, you can't just apply one punishment across the board.
I mean, you could kill them.
What's that, Elisa?
Right.
Huh? Who's Winston Churchill? He was the leader of England at this time. Okay, anybody else? August, what do you have to say about these sentences?
I mean, like, even the 4 people that were acquitted out of, like, the 24 high-level Nazis, like, that's not just they won't face any adversity for their entire life. Like, they will live in fear of, like, anyone, because, like, there are definitely people that would want to kill them.
Okay.
There's a very high chance
Sure.
that
I have a question. I have a
face
question.
lots of violence and
It's like Zimmer.
adversity.
Okay, I can get that. So maybe just because they weren't formally charged doesn't mean that their lives are going to be easy. Doesn't mean that they're not guilty.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay. Ace, what's your question?
Well, what if those 4 were like Oscar Schindler?
What if those 4 were like Oscar Schindler? We actually know who they were. None of them were Oscar Schindler. I can tell you that much. Okay, so why were these trials significant? Why were these trials significant? Any guesses? Yes, August, why?
Because they weren't originally going to like try them in a court of law, but like so that they could like make themselves like better than the Nazis. They were like, we're going to find these people guilty with law and not with just opinion.
Yes, that's a great point. I'm going to sit so that my writing gets a little weird at the bottom. It was the first international trial. The first trial of people from one country by another country. It was the first trial for war crimes. This is the first time that this sort of idea that like all is fair in love and war, like in war you can kind of do whatever you want and it's just like that's what happens, it's an ugly business. This was the first time that that did not hold true.
That wasn't war.
Yeah, good point, Amari. It didn't necessarily happen on the battlefield.
It was actually
all
the
the
last
stuff
official
that happened was all the deaths was not on like the field. They made the camps for a reason.
Yeah, this was above and beyond normal, battlefield atrocities. Because please be aware, all sides on World War II committed really terrible atrocities towards the other side. So that's something to keep in mind of. This is also like just behaviorally, like it set a precedent. Does anybody know what a precedent is?
No.
President?
A precedent. Precedent. A precedent is when something happens for the first time. So it set a precedent that if you commit crimes during war, or not even during war, but if you commit crimes on this massive scale, you will be held accountable by the international community. The international community. There is an organization that is larger than your individual country, and they will hold you accountable. And that still happens today. We have war crimes going on as we speak against people who committed atrocities or genocide or mass murder. That is still happening today. So it set a precedent. Okay, yes, August, question.
Wasn't World War II like the last war that the United States was officially involved in?
No.
No, because I mean like legally declared war, like that was the last time.
I believe there's a legal declaration in Vietnam, and I believe there's a legal declaration. No, not in
No,
Vietnam.
it was a conflict. They only said it was a conflict on the
Korea. Okay.
Korea.
Right.
But that's something that we can look into. I am trying to be conscious of my schedule. I'll look into that and get back to you, because that's an interesting point. So what we are going to do was justice served in Nuremberg. You guys are going to be the judge. I'm going to ask you to work with the person next to you. Turn it over. Thank you, Jimmy. Turn it over. You're going to work with the person sitting next to you, and you're going to come up with 2 reasons why you think justice was served, and 2 reasons why you do not think justice was served. And you're going to write them in the chart on the back of your notes. Okay, so go ahead and get started and work with the person next to you. Thank you. Is it really impeding your... Okay, I'll get Jimmy, you're working with Rosemary. Ooh, okay, so you guys will work in a 3. And you guys will work in a 2. How's it going, guys? It's early. You know what wakes you up? Writing. Come on there, Jonah.
What if you don't?
You don't know why it wasn't? Then maybe add another one for why it was. I mean, my friend has, I have a friend who added another reason for why I think it was. Do you think at all that it was not served? I mean, that you do not know at all that it was not served? Like it was 100% justice was served? How much I see you were just right at it? Okay, lot to say about this, especially mine. Start with a C. Why was it there? You guys know?
Yes, he is.
Use your notes. Use the notes. Great. I'm really glad you did that too.
Oh, Miss Lynn.
Did she ask you yesterday?
Hang on. Okay, let's talk about this later because we have limited time. I want to get this out, but I'll talk to you about this when we go to the lab. Yes. Okay, do you guys have your reasons? Okay, I'd love for you guys to get another one down and then I'll send you back through class. Thank you.
Okay.
How are you guys doing over here? You got one of each?
No, because he said a pink was like that.
That looks like Anthony's having a beer. Raven. Going to town.
Didn't say that.
She was not going to Remind me not to go to trial in your courthouse. You finished? Great. Good job. Okay. That can go with your notes.
My bad.
Where are you from?
You guys, you still have nothing?
I don't get it.
Did you give us there? Justice, sir? Did they get what they deserved? Okay, there you go.
I told you to be careful, didn't
Oh, and then that on camera too. He caught you.
Raven, you were like on the town. I love that. Maybe you're just ready for it. Either way, I'm so happy. Huh?
Nobody cares.
It's not that funny.
Okay, this group.
She said like 3 words, just mumbled them. It's not
Is almost writing. Dora is almost writing. You're reading. Okay. If he's writing, you should be writing. You guys should be working together. There we go. Yeah.
I was just laughing at the baby guy.
I feel like they did not, but let me look into that too. Along with the other things.
Not the officials.
Looking.
Why then? You know how they split into
Yes.
like how do you
I've never like checked. It seems like a country border like that.
So I mean, technically, the countries were. Where are you going? Because what would you do if you're all the way down?
Couldn't even go.
Exactly. So technically, the countries were.
Like you don't know how to dance
In the city,
in
no, there wasn't. Everywhere else was like borders.
I got dancing.
One more.
Probably like the last day.
Better than the alternative. Okay, guys, can I have your attention up here? Guys up here, please.
Can I get the camera?
Eyes up here, please. We're gonna move forward. Okay, guys. Thank you all for working well in your groups. I saw a lot of interesting things written down. Carla, why don't you tell me one reason why justice was served?
I said that most of the Nazi party got some sentence. I mean, sentence in their punishment.
Is that true?
I mean, not their punishment.
Is that true? Most Nazis got sentenced? How many got sentenced?
24.
24? How many Nazis were in the party?
Some got sentenced to life and some got sentenced to the death penalty.
Okay, let's say some Nazis were imprisoned. And so I want you guys to be writing this down in your chart as well. Some Nazis were imprisoned.
There was only 7.
Yeah, so it's not, it's not, the entire Nazi party was not punished. Probably all of the Nazis who were somehow responsible were not even punished. But we did have, some Nazis were imprisoned, or let's just say they were put on trial and imprisoned. Because it's important, this was, it followed like the course of justice. They were put on trial and imprisoned.
We should have
Okay, just Mary, why don't you give me a reason why justice was served? You have one for now? Okay, I'll come back to you. A good reason why justice was served, Miss Tracy. Why was justice served? What'd you write down? Give me one. Listen up, Tracy has the floor, please.
Why justice was served?
Yes, why it was.
Justice was served because eventually the camp itself and all that was ruled out.
Okay.
Eventually closed, and that the Jews survived, and those that didn't were to a certain advantage.
Okay, so camps were closed, and some Jews got to testify in court, so they kind of got to bring that to the to justice. That's an important point to bring up. Okay, who else has a good reason for? Victor, what about a reason for? Why was justice served?
Their crimes were acknowledged.
Crimes were acknowledged. Yeah, that's very important. You can't just sweep it under the rug. Okay, anybody got any other good ones for justice was served? Mari, what do you have for justice was served?
Justice was served. So they all got, some of them got charged with international law instead of their countries.
Okay, so the use of international law.
Yeah, trying to come back. That wasn't happening.
Okay, let's move on. Justice was not served. Just Mary, I know you're going to get a wimble for it. Why was justice not served? Hitler? That's all? That's actually just right. Okay, there we go.
I don't know how to explain it.
No, that's good.
Himself and shut up.
Yeah, he killed himself.
Oh, no, I think that was just.
Hitler did not stand trial.
What?
What?
Oh, because you're leaning in my
Guys, I need your attention up here.
comment. I mean,
Ace, go ahead.
She said that Hitler and I'm saying Justice Bloodstone because if it was that bad, the justice that he was gonna face, he had to kill himself. So yeah, that's my opinion.
I see where you're coming from. I'm thinking more specifically in the Nuremberg courthouse. And there I would say it was not served. Because he did not stand trial. I'm talking up here, please. He did not stand trial. So even though he killed himself because he was worried that he would stand trial, at Nuremberg, justice was not served in this one sense. Hitler was not brought to trial. That's a very important detail. Thank you, Just Mary. Okay, anything else? Why else was justice not served? Jardel, why don't you share one?
Oh God. What happened was I had my yes.
You had yours for yes? Okay, you can give me one for yes. That's okay.
So mine's already up there.
Oh, okay. You want to restate it in your own words?
I said it was served because some high level Nazi officials done worse than others.
Great. Okay, good. Okay, so sentences.
Like every teacher. Just sit here.
Sentences for high level Nazis. Okay, let's get some more for why it was not served. Why was justice not served? You guys all think it was? 100%? We're happy with the outcome? No. No?